welcome to the Not So Travelling Introvert. Today I want to talk about making extra time. So I was in a meeting the other day, and it was, the usual PowerPoint presentation with lots of hyperlinks embedded within the presentation, and the presentation hadn't been shared in advance, so you didn't know what was going on. And then the person's like, so does anyone have any questions? And I was like, well, I'll look at the presentation later and then I'll get back to you. Only then did I realize that I've said this multiple times and not actually done that thing. I always mean to go back and look at whatever was presented, but I don't actually schedule time to do it. And because other things, no, okay. The reason isn't because other things get in the way, but I just go about my day and continue doing other things. I very rarely go back and look over the things that I said I was going to do. So this leads me to realize that not only do I have to schedule in times for these meetings, but depending on the type of meeting, if I can't convince them to share their screen or their slide deck earlier, is to set aside time while I'm in that meeting to review said slide deck. And I can't believe I've been working all this time and haven't done this. It's amazing when you think of random things. So that is one way to make sure that I go ahead and review the information and get what I need from it and come back. Set aside time not only for the meeting, but review the meeting afterwards. Another thing that I've realized is some people go about their work with a research mindset. And I think this comes across with this, going ahead and reviewing that information. Everything that they do or see or try is a data point to be put aside and come back to later or built upon. Having a research mindset, it's not like the growth mindset thing, but sort of approaching projects, tasks, assumptions with okay, I'm going to try this to see if it works, or what I need to tweak, or what I need to reiterate or iterate. Having that research and curious mindset stops you from making assumptions and moving forward with those assumptions. Speaking to a client the other day about pay rates for their staff, and they're very much like, oh, they get paid this, and then they get paid that, and then as far as I know, they get their this, and I'm sure they get their paid X, Y, and Z after this point. And we had the conversation where I was like, well, actually, I've spoken to your staff, and they get paid this, and then this, which isn't the number that you gave me. And that doesn't happen at the time you told me. She was like, wait, what? But I assumed da-da-da-da-da-da. See? She's like, oh, well, I'm going to have to research into this. So after making the assumption, she's now going back and researching what she thought was true in her assumptions, which could have been avoided if instead of making the assumptions, you go from a research mindset. Hey, I want to double check that this is true. I want to make sure I got this right. Just because this book said so doesn't make it right. So I highly recommend thinking about your work and your assumptions and projects and that sort of thing with a research mindset. Just think about it from a curiosity standpoint. Ooh, what happens if this? What happens if that? I think this happens. Does that actually happen? Let me check. Let me ask someone. Let me test. You will be amazed at what you will find if you come to something with that kind of a mindset. And if you feel that you struggle with that, crowdsource. I had a problem recently. It's not a problem. I had a thing come up recently that I really had no clue about. And I asked 3 or 4 different people who all gave me 3 or 4 different pieces of advice, but all together made this wonderful thing hopefully happen. And it all came from different angles, different viewpoints, different expectations, different things that they had seen and heard. But that helped me learn so much. And so when I was creating this thing that I needed help with that I knew nothing about, I came at it from a research point of view and getting data points to help with that. So, just my thoughts for today, talking about research. Thank you for listening. This is Janice at thecareerintrovert.com, helping you build your brand and get hired. Have a great rest of your day.